Apple is reportedly working on an SDK that simplifies the process of porting iOS apps to macOS, and will eventually merge the two processes into one. Sources speaking to Bloomberg note that the project should see an official announcement and potentially a partial release this June during Apple's developer conference. The initiative itself is a three-step release, however, meaning that this year's SDK will focus only on allowing iPad developers to port apps to macOS. Bloomberg sources say that the situation is fluid, but current plans see the kit being updated to support iPhone to Mac conversions in 2020, and in 2021, Apple plans to merge iPhone, iPad, and Mac apps into a single binary altogether, allowing developers to create apps that work across all platforms at once. The 2019 and 2020 versions of the SDK will still require developers to individually submit platform-specific versions of their apps to the appropriate app store. But the 2021 SDK will eliminate this requirement, as it aims to essentially merge the iOS and Mac app stores into one more universal Apple storefront. Newsbrief, Nomada Studios, Georgia's adventure platformer, Gris, has turned a profit after just 1 week on sale. The title launched on December 30th for Switch, Windows and Mac, and has been met with largely positive reviews. Although we do not have any exact sales figures, it's still an impressive feat for the colorful indie effort. Gris has been out for 1 week, and our team is overwhelmed by the incredible reception and thrilled that the game is already profitable, wrote Nomada. Thank you all so much for your support. Today over on the DD channel, System-Era General Manager and company co-founder Brandon Wilson dropped by the stream to discuss the making of Astroneer now that the game's left early access. Untitled 1. In case you have not checked in with Astroneer's development for a while, it's managed to accrue a large and loyal community that helped make its 1.0 launch a success. Wilson was able to explain why that community took some getting used to for a team of developers whose initial experience was being siloed away from players while working on the Halo franchise. You can now watch the full conversation with Wilson in the video above. For more developer interviews and curated DD talks, be sure to follow the DD Twitch channel. Oxford Internet Institute Director of Research and Lead Researcher Andrew Przybylski details the findings of the study. Researchers at the University of Oxford's Oxford Internet Institute have published the findings of a study into the relationship between aggressive behavior in teens and violent video games, finding that, in short, no link exists. The study's subject itself is not no ground, by any means. But Oxford researchers say that their case has a few notable differences from past studies that, according to the university, make it one of the most definitive to date. The paper, which can be found in its entirety on Royal Society Open Science, collected data from a representative sample of British 14 and 15-year-olds, as well as from their caretakers, totaling 2,008 participants in all. Both parties answered a series of questions provided by researchers, with the teenaged participants answering the questionnaire on their personality and video game habits, while caretakers answered the strengths and difficulties questionnaire. Games were also classified according to PAL ratings, rather than participant-defined content descriptions. Following the pre-registered analysis plan, multiple regression analyses tested the hypothesis that recent violent gameplay is linearly and positively related to care assessments of aggressive behavior. reads the paper. Results did not support this prediction, nor did they support the idea that the relationship between these factors follows a nonlinear parabolic function. There was no evidence for a critical tipping point relating violent game engagement to aggressive behavior. Researchers also note that, unlike other studies on the subject, they opted to publicly pre-register their hypotheses, methods, and analysis technique before starting in on the research itself in order to prevent personal bias from playing a part in the findings. Our findings suggest that researcher biases might have influenced previous studies on this topic, and have distorted our understanding of the effects of video games. Co-author Netta Weinstein told Oxford, the Monster Hunter series continues to be a driving force for Capcom, which just achieved its highest ever profit levels for the end of the third quarter, according to Capcom's financials for the 9 months ended December 31,
2018.
Net sales increased by 28.3% year-on-year to 61.3 billion yuan, $556.9 million, while profits rose by 106.8% to 9.2 billion yuan, $83.6 million, over the same period. Digging into the company's digital contents division, which houses its video game operations, net sales jumped by 55.2% year-on-year to 47.9 billion yuan, $135.2 million, while operating income increased by 144.3% to 15.3 billion yuan, $139 million. The Japanese outfit has attributed its continued momentum to the phenomenal success of the Monster Hunter franchise, with the latest release Monster Hunter World maintaining its popularity on consoles and finding an audience on PC to cross 11 million units in lifetime sales. Monster Hunter World for PlayStation 4 and Xbox was a phenomenal success in the previous fiscal year, and continued to maintain popularity through the expansion of its user base, while the strong performance of the Steam version for PC boosted profits, rocked the company. Further, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, a Nintendo Switch, which was released in markets outside of Japan, enjoyed robust sales owing to its consistent popularity. Capcom also topped the sales performance of Mega Man 11, Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, Onimusha, and Mega Man X Legacy Collection, and reported an increase in high-margin catalog titles. Looking ahead, the company has not revised its full-year forecast, and still expects to see net sales and profits hit 96 billion yuan, $865.2 million, and 12 billion yuan, $108.2 million, when the fiscal year ends on March 31,
2019.
This post that originates from the site Narrative Construction contains no spoilers. But if you hold a belief that some designers are mysterious, and that their games are magic, I would advise thinking twice before deciding to read the post. The title, Putting into Play, is inspired by the term mise-en-scene, which means putting into a scene, put on stage. The term had its origin in theater, and was later picked up by film scholars as to have a way of referring to the practice of directing, planning and controlling the elements for the desired effect on a stage or in a frame of a film. Since the term isn't established in games, but where the concept could provide an overlook of the stylish elements that are to be organized and arranged in the creation of a film, my intention is not to put a new term into play. What I will put into play are the thoughts that precede the choice, of elements that are to become the parts of the desired form of an engaging and dynamic game system. This isn't the first time in propelling thoughts as mean to show how the initial thoughts matter toward the construction of a concept. But what differs, punting into play, from the former 24 posts, where I have used propellors, radiators,